The Bible Treasury. A monthly magazine of papers on scriptural subjects. Volume 20, Article 31. Series 4. Number 7. 1894 and 1895. Gospel Words. 7. The woman healed and sent away in peace. Matthew 9, Mark 5, Luke 8. Here we have a living picture of a soul smitten incurably for man, every effort fruitless, all medicine and physicians in vain, her resources spent, herself nothing bettered but rather grown worse. But faith cometh by hearing, and, having heard of Jesus, she came in the crowd behind, and touched his garment, or, as Matthew and Luke say, its hem. Faith is always sure of the Savior. It may have as feeble knowledge of itself as of him, but it does not doubt in whom the virtue lies. Much remains to be learned and corrected, but it goes straight to its object. For she said, If I but touch his clothes, I shall be made whole. And faith does not fail to receive its answer through grace. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she knew in her body that she was healed of the scourge. But the Lord knew the whole case better still and meant for her no half blessing. She did not question his power, she seems to have connected it in her mind with his person and surroundings physically. She must learn that his soul acted with it, that his mind and heart were engaged in the blessing. It was not a charm, as heathenism made it in thought, nor was it even dependent on his bodily presence, as Jews were apt to conclude. He who had deigned to become the servant of divine love, in a world where sin reigned and had wrought fell ruin, would show her the kindness of God. Touching the hem of his garment stealthily, she would, if the case had been left there, have ever felt that it was underhand and surreptitious. She did not as yet know God, though availing herself of Messiah's healing energy. The Lord could not in his grace consent to so partial a mercy. He is entitled, and he loves, to bless fully all whom he blesses at all, and him that cometh to me, said he elsewhere, I will in no wise cast out. So fully did he come as a servant, that he was here only to do the Father's will, not his own. Whosoever came, he received. And the full blessing he gave from first to last, he would lose nothing but raise up at the last day. So even at this day he not only forgives transgression, and covers sin, and imputes no iniquity, but takes guile from the Spirit. This the healed woman needed, this the Lord gave. So immediately perceiving in himself the power from himself gone forth, he turned round in the crowd and said, Who touched my clothes? The disciples, as so commonly, misunderstood, and Peter, with the rest, talked of the crowds hemming him with their pressure. But the Lord alone knew in the highest way, that a certain one did touch him, and he looked about to see who had done this. It was not that he could not have named her, but to give her opportunity to confess the truth. How little she knew the grace that filled him. For frightened and trembling, conscious of what had been done upon her, she came, and fell down before him, and told him all the truth. How little she knew that such was the condition of her better blessing. And he said to her, Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole, go away in peace and be well of thy scourge. How transporting to her as yet confused and anxious spirit! What solid abiding comfort for her to be thus in his presence, and to have all out before him, and to know him more than confirming all she had got, with a message of peace unfailing for all that is to come. Such is the Lord to every need that is brought to him, such is he most of all to that deepest need, which demanded not power only but propitiation in his suffering to the uttermost, the death of the cross. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, and today, and forever. As he does not change, among human shiftings and men's various and strange doctrines, so neither does his power, nor his love. But to be blessed fully we must meet him face to face, and know from his own lips grace given to us. It was an immense mercy to have the mischief stayed, the living death arrested, but how much more to hear his voice banishing all fear and sending her forth in peace, as we pass through a world of strife, and spite of a fallen nature which ever tends to pleasures that war in our members. There may be crowds around the Lord. He is not occupied with them but passing through. The touch of faith, however uninformed or feeble, arrests him at once. But a blessing, though immediate and rich, is not enough to satisfy him. The blesser will be known, that faith may have a blessing, good measure, pressed down, shaken up, and running over, so does God give, not man. If it is for his glory that all be clear and confessed, it is also the condition of peace by faith. When silence is kept, the bones wax old through roaring all the day long, and the Lord's hand is heavy night as well as day, so that moisture is changed into summer's drought. But peace is known, when one's sin is acknowledged to him. This cannot be while one's iniquity is hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. So it was, so it is, so it must be, as long as grace brings sinners to God. Nature is all wrong in fearing that the Lord begrudges blessing, and the fullest, and forever. It is no question of our merits who have but sins and death and wrath as we are naturally. It is His grace that saves, and His grace would have us to know that He makes salvation assured with all His heart.